Oh, it's going well, isn't it? Hello and welcome to the November 2020 episode of the Not Quite Enough Yarn podcast. My name is Leslie and this is a podcast about knitting, crochet, spinning, weaving, pretty much anything yarn related, recorded on the south coast of England, where I live with himself and our dog Heidi, the queen of everything. Hope you're all well. If you're a new or a returning viewer, welcome. Lovely to have you here. Thank you for spending your time with me. It's a podcast that's recorded in bits throughout the month. In fact, I'm recording this the day after I recorded the end of the October one, so it feels a little weird, but that's okay. And then I put all the bits together and post on the last weekend of each month. It's called Not Quite Enough Yarn because I have not quite enough yarn of any one type usually. So I have a lot of yarn. I've got 3 cupboards behind me. I'd like to get my yarn content down to 2, but it's not happening. And when this podcast started 2 and a bit years ago, I was in the middle of a no-buy kick, and this year I have been buying yarn to support indie dyers when they haven't been able to go to events, festivals, yarn shows, that sort of thing. But I must stop that now because I'm getting overrun with woolly stuff. So yes, it's not quite enough because I normally put in stripes and blocks of colour and sorts of things like that. Whatever I'm wearing hand knitted throughout the month. This is my Faroe shawl adaptation. There'll be details in the links, so I won't necessarily say each time this is my X, but you should be able to see in the bottom what the garment is and any links and yarns and so forth. Running 2 year-long make-alongs. The first is with the wonderful Barbara from the Flame and Fibre podcast, and that's the Stashmal 2020. So the idea is that you work from your stash, and the rules are quite simple. The yarn or the fibre of your spinning, whatever you're using as your source material, needed to be in your stash at the end of 2019, and the project had to be started on or after the 1st of January 2020. The only exception to that is anything that you were making for last year's Stashmal that didn't get finished in time, but I would guess that as we're now in November, it's probably finished. I could be wrong, you still have 2 months, but if you need to buy something to complete a project, it will still be eligible providing your new yarn or fibre or whatever is no more than 50% of the total. We both have threads on Ravelry, we both have groups on Ravelry. To be eligible for prizes, you need to be a member of those groups, and we each have 2 threads. Finished object thread, so that's where you post your FOs, and that's a no chatter thread, but you're also welcome to post your finished objects in the chatter thread so that people can come back, ask questions, praise your work, all those sorts of things. Making draws for prizes quarterly, and in the chatter thread it's a pattern prize, and for the finished object thread it's a physical prize, usually yarn. So that's that. We're on to the final quarter. There will also be, I'll be doing a draw for the whole year, so there'll be a kind of big prize, so even if you haven't won within a quarter, you have another chance by being in the big draw. Worry about saying big draws, but let's not go down that road. So matron. So that's the first of the make-alongs that I'm involved in. The other is with the fabulous Kellyanne from Yarn Tales by the Sea, and this is the Ocean Mal 2020. So anything sea related, it can be that you're using colours that one would associate with the sea. The pattern could have waves or ripples, could be a yarn name that's sea related. If you can convince us it's to do with the sea, you're fine. Same sort of setup. We both have groups on Ravelry. We both have the 2 threads, finished object and chatter. Chatter thread is for a pattern prize, finished object for a physical prize. You are heartily encouraged to multiple dip. So give yourself as many opportunities to win prizes as you would like. And similarly, if the item that you've made is in someone else's make-along and they're happy for you to dip into other people's make-alongs as well, then that's all good. We encourage opportunities to win. So those are the make-alongs, and look forward to seeing whatever you enter. There are some fabulous projects on all of the make-alongs. People have found patterns that perhaps you haven't come across, or they've seen a pattern you've seen before but it's in new colours and you just think, oh, I wasn't sure about that but now I really like it. Those sorts of things, really inspiring to look at those threads. So everyone is encouraged to join in. Thank you to everyone who's been taking part. Much appreciated. What else? Is there anything in admin? No, I think we're done on the admin. Feels a bit quick. Don't know. Thank you to those who like, comment and subscribe, especially the comments. I do love to hear from everyone and I do try and respond to everybody, so I hope that I haven't missed anyone out. But yeah, great to hear from you. Lovely to hear what you're up to, what you're making, how things are treating you. We are midst COVID. As I record this first section, we're about to enter another lockdown in England, and from comments I've had from other folks, a lot of Europe is facing a similar set of restrictions. In the UK there are various sets of restrictions. Australia seems to be coming out of them. Great. Yeah, it's a time to get the needles and yarn out, or the hooks and yarn, or the spinning wheel, and just crack on with the crafts, because we're still at home. So cracking on with the crafts is what I have done, and I have, about my person, a very small and cute, I think it's cute, finished object. Look! It's so sweet. So this little thing, look, it's even got little feet. This is, stop it Leslie, this is the Sweetest Sleeper by Simply Sycamore, and as you can see, it's a dear little thing. So very cute. It's using DK weight yarn. I have made one of these before. I made one I think last year or the year before, and I found the gauge recommended a little loose, so I this time went up a size but down needle size. I don't swatch for baby things because I'm working on the theory they only fit in them for 5 minutes anyway, so it's finding the right 5 minutes really. This used 73 grams of yarn, which works out to just over 200 meters. I don't actually know what this yarn is. I was very kindly given some yarn recently, which you'll have seen in previous podcasts, from stashes of people who are sadly no longer with us, and their families were sorting out their things and offered yarn, which is very, very kind. It's an acrylic, I can tell you that. It's a lovely soft acrylic, but apart from that I can't tell you what it is. So my yardage is an estimation. I always work on the theory that DK acrylic is about 3 meters to the gram. So that's where I've come to the just over 200 meters. But isn't that just a sweet thing? So yeah, Simply Sycamore, Sweetest Sleeper. and that's my first FO of the month. Who knows, maybe my only FO of the month, but hopefully not. At least I've got one if it is. I can't remember if last month I showed you a yarn that I had started to spin, but I have this here. Last October, before I even got my wheel, Claire from the Ferret and Gibbon podcast and I went to Lewes, which is the county town of Sussex, where the Sussex Spinners, Dyers and Weavers Association, Guild, and those crafts might be in the wrong order, had their annual show. And it was a lovely day out. They were selling equipment. It's where I got my knittingordeath. They had exhibitions of their work. There was a bit of a trade show going on, so some vendors there. It's where I found the details of the guy who cleaned my alpaca fleece. That's how I found out about them. But also some of the guild members were selling their own equipment, their own makes, including a lady who was selling some rolags that she'd made. And I put a picture here of one of them. And they are 80% merino, 20% silk. I think I had 50 grams in total, and she called the colourway Twilight. Now, at the same time, or not long after, I had some fibre, which was like a gradient set from dark purple to light, to a sort of light lilac. And the lilac was a very similar colour to the lightest colour in the rolags. So I kept that to one side when I spun the other fibre to ply them together, and this is what I've done. So this is my yarn. So I did it as a 2-ply, spun the merino, then spun the rolags, and you can see that we have a bit of variation in there. So we've got the dark colour, we've also got the white, which is the silk. Those fibres felt very different when I was spinning them. And what I did is I would sort of start at the light end of a rolag, spin through to the dark end, and then the next one start at the dark and spin through to the light, and do it that way. So hopefully there'll be sort of longish colour marls when I come to knit it up. Quite a nice soft yarn. I've got 139 metres here out of 78 grams worth. I spun them, the two bases, a little unevenly, so I had quite a bit left of one, but this is the yarn, which I'm rather pleased with. So it's very pretty, and obviously purple is the colour for this month, given the little baby suit I've just shown you. So yes, got little streaks of white in there, along with the darker purple, and then the sort of lilac lavender. I'm never sure what to call these colours, because I've heard people call that sort of pale colour mauve, and to me mauve is much darker. But what do I know? I'm not a colour expert. But I know what I like. So yeah, pleased with that spin. Not perfect, not entirely consistent, but not bad. And I'll take that. Cheers. I had lots of the rolag yarn left on the bobbin after I'd plied, because obviously I'd plied them at slightly different thicknesses. So it occurred to me that I should, there is no should, that I could create a plying bracelet, and you do that by wrapping the yarn around your hand to then get you both ends so that you can ply it together, and you can use all your yarn up as a 2-ply. Started this, then the phone rang, and then I remembered why I bought a plying tool, a plying bracelet tool. This I got from Etsy. I will try and find the link and put it downstairs. Downstairs, just in the back cupboard. Yeah. Good Lord. Yes, so it's scary, isn't it? Yes, so I will make a plying bracelet using this tool instead. So you're watching my first attempt using the plying bracelet. And if you're thinking that's a bit tight, Les, how's that going to come off? These little bits detach so that you can pull the yarn off. So this is a bit of a new adventure, and you're sharing it with me because I like to share whatever nonsense is happening in my life, as you know. Yeah, so all I'm doing with this plying thing, I've just looked at a quick YouTube video from Hilltop Cloud, and you're just wrapping around the tool and then making a cross around the sticky uppy bit, which oh, I did that in the wrong place. If I were doing this on my hand, that would be the middle finger. That would also look quite rude as I recorded this, and I'm not going to be like that to you, so I'm going to use my little plastic ghost instead. When I was looking on Etsy, I was very torn in my purchases because this is plastic, and plastic is the enemy, as we know. It's a British-made 3D printed item, and there were wooden plying tools, but there were none being produced in the UK, so that would have meant the transport of them. So it struck me that this was as good an option as any in terms of the environmental impact. I mean, yes, the most environmental thing is to use your hand, Leslie, but then the phone rings and we're back to where we started. So this is what I'm doing, and I will hopefully show you this being plied once it's on the tool, or once it's off the tool, more accurately. And like I say, this is the first time I've tried this, so this is not a tutorial. This is me sharing my spinning experience with you. This looks like one of those dogs that looks like a bog brush, frankly. Sorry, there are people who love those dogs, and I'm sure they're wonderful creatures, but is it a poolie, the one with the very curly coats? I'm not sure if that's what they are, but that's what this looks like. But it's a very useful technique when you just have a bit, quite a bit, left on the bobbin of just a single ply that you don't necessarily want to put with everything else. Now, I have been saving on a bobbin some other bits of single ply that I have, and I will be either doing this type of technique or perhaps spinning a plain single to ply them all with. Hello, we're getting a little bit caught there. Trying to cut off circulation there, that's not so good. There we go, that's better. So yes, this is an experiment in yarn that should, in places, look quite similar to the one that I've just produced, because we are talking about the same colours. The difference being that I haven't got the amount of the plain merino in the paler colour to ply with it. And there you go, some 2-ply yarn from the same single using a plying bracelet. That was fun! And just to round things up nicely, here is the finished skein of the Rolegs and the merino plied together. And here is that little mini skein plied using the plying bracelet. Almost spun onto a skein properly. Okay, the next bit of footage I'd originally recorded thinking that you'd see it next month, because this item is a collaborative effort. It was actually a Christmas present, but we decided to give it early. Firstly, because we didn't want the recipient to go and buy something similar. Secondly, because we were so excited we just wanted to see her open it. Hello lovelies, I'm recording this section on the 11th of October, and this is a bit of gift knitting that I've been doing in collaboration with others. It's a blanket and 3 of us have made a third of it each for a 4th member of our friendship group. Makes it sound like an official club. We're a group of friends, there are 4 of us and 3 of us knits. So hopefully by now the person has received it and is snuggling under it in an appropriate fashion. The blanket, I have completely forgotten the name of the pattern, but I'll put the details on screen here. We were looking for a pattern for this lady, for Belinda, and between the 3 of us we found the pattern, we found the yarn. The maths I think went a bit out, trying to work out how much yarn to send to each person when we're in different parts of the country worked out pretty well, but not 100% well. But here is my contribution, and you can see that it has a sort of 3-dimensional effect because of the way the colours are used. So this is the top of the blanket, and there are 2 more thirds to be added on, and the bottom has a border in the dark blue. So it's all rather fun. Because we were all working on the same piece, and this is going to go in the post in the next day or 2, and someone's going to sew the 3 panels together, let's hope they're all the same size. We did, excuse me, we did have a lot of discussion about gauge, making sure the squares are the right size. Apparently I'm the loosest of the 3. That hasn't caused any jokes at all, as you can imagine. So I'm just hoping this does all fit. Because there are 3 of us working on the same thing, we had to kind of follow it to the letter. The squares are made individually and then sewn together. I'm not entirely sure why. Were I making the whole thing myself, I wouldn't have sewn much at all, because I would have started and then picked up the next one, as any mitre square. I've done a little mitre square before, little mitre square blanket. I'll put a picture here. Yeah, I don't understand why that wasn't done in this way, why this was a sewing together job, but that's what it is, so that's what it is, that's fine. We used, what did we use? Drops Nepal, and it's, what is it, 65% wool, 35% alpaca, and we've got a dark teal, which is a slightly heathered one I think, the teal and then the cream, and there's some left over, but this panel was about 500 and something grams, so it'd be a nice sort of weighty blanket. Not that I believe this friend needs a weighted blanket, but a lot of people like them. So, yeah, so it'd be a nice weighty blanket and hopefully very cosy. Now, another friend of mine, completely unrelated, gave me a gift of some labels. So I've sewn one in. Don't know if you can see that okay, but it says at the bottom, did I mention it took forever? I sent a photo of this to the 2 other knitters saying, shall I sew one of these into the top bit? Oh yes, they said. So here is this lovely blanket. I will hopefully have a picture of the completed item to show you, but I'm really pleased with how that's turned out. So it did mean buying yarn, but it's net zero on this because all the yarn that's left is going to the person who's doing the sewing together. So it's 0 gain, 0 loss on this one. Yarn came in, yarn got used. Job's a good one. Hello lovelies. I finished quite a few baby things yesterday which I'm about to pack up and send off to the parents-to-be. So I thought I would share them with you before I did. So the first is being demonstrated and modelled by Bride of Chucky, and it's another hat. And this little hat with a little I-cord top is a very simple hat. I use the Anne Budd book of patterns as my guide for stitch numbers. So this is her basic hat pattern. I put a little bit of detail in. I was getting a bit bored knitting round and round, so I added a little bit of a diagonal pattern there. And to finish it off, just did an I-cord for a couple of inches and then tied a knot in it. So very simple and straightforward. Didn't do much of a brim. I just did a row or two of twisted rib and then that's it. So another little hat for little baby. So that took, it's just some acrylic double knitting that's in the stash that a lot of these patterns are using up bits and pieces. And that took 22 grams, so approximately 66 meters. So that's him. To match, I have some tiny mittens. So these little ones, every time. These are the Jack and Jill mittens by Mariana Mel. Now the original pattern has some sort of stitch detailing in here, and also the original pattern is knitted flat, but I decided to just do it in the round and plain. So very, very equal, obviously first size, that's just kind of coming home from hospital sort of size. So they took 7 grams, and again it's just a generic double knitting acrylic. Might have a bit of wool in it, I really don't know what it is. I have here, hang on, I'm sitting on one, there it is. I have 2 little socks. Now these are the baby socks by Kate Atherley. So look at these. They are so sweet. It's a free pattern. All of these things I'm showing you, apart from the hat which came from a book, are free patterns, and I'll link them below. It's essentially a 32 stitch sock, but so sweet. This yarn is Katia Air Luxe, so it's a 4-ply weight yarn. I mean, you could use sock leftovers. I was recently watching Rosie's Knitting Shed, and Rosie's been making some baby socks, which is where I got the idea, so thanks Rosie. And she's using up leftovers from sock yarn. I thought I would do it in this, and then I started thinking, but it hasn't got any nylon, will it be hard wearing enough? Yes, Leslie, because the baby can't walk. So so yeah, some little socks there, so cute. And finally, once the baby's been out in his socks or her socks, can come home to some little booties, some little slippers. So these little ones are the flat baby booties by Gina Michelle. Really simple pattern, knitted as one flat piece that you then sew together. Very, very simple. I knitted both of these in just over an hour last night, and they took 13 grams of yarn. Now this is a slightly thicker feeling double knitting, maybe more a sort of worsted weight. Don't think it's as thick as an Aran. Yeah, so 13 grams of these, and obviously you can have that cuff up to keep ankles warm or flapped over there. So very sweet. I will be making more of these, I'm sure, because I'm very pleased to have found this pattern. Very cute. So those are my current baby knits. I'm now going to wait until baby's here before I make any more things for this particular little one. And once we know that baby's here safely and we know what sort of colours Mum and Dad want for him or her, then more things will be made. Baby knits, they're over so quickly. It suddenly looks like I've done lots of different projects, because I have, but they're tiny. So yeah, some nice little patterns in there. The socks I did find a bit fiddly. I'm not a prolific sock knitter, as we know, and I did find them a little bit fiddly, because working on a very small, very fine needle, very small gauge, for a yarn that wouldn't necessarily be worked at that gauge ordinarily, so that it's a little bit fluffy. It doesn't have the kind of smooth running that you'd have with a nice twisted sock yarn. But yeah, really cute little things there. So more will be made once baby's here, and baby should be here in the next few weeks, so fingers crossed for everyone there. Cheers. Hello lovelies. I bought some yarn, and in so doing someone very kindly offered a giveaway prize, and when you hear all the circumstances around this, you'll understand why I was so keen to say thank you. That's a really kind offer, and yes please. If you saw the vlog a couple of weeks ago, you'll know what this is, but I'm going to start off with the yarn I bought. There's nothing to do with the prize. I realised I was running out of mohair for my Roxy poncho, or poncho sweater, or whatever it is. Can't believe I was running out of mohair, but I was. So I bought a couple of skeins. The first is from Lamington Lass. It's her Hazy Cloud of Lace base. It's a 72/28 mohair silk, and the colourway is Steel Eye. A little bit lighter than that, I think. And then I was looking for something with a more pink, lilac, purple edge of things tone. Just scrolling through Etsy, saw this and thought what a perfect colour for what I was after. So this is from, she said throwing things around, Attic Spin Dye. It's their Decadent Lace, and again it's a 72/28 mohair silk in the Kitten Soft Dusk colourway. Now that's coming out more of a lilac. It's the colour is more of a sort of subtle pink into lilac. Really pretty colour. After I'd placed the Etsy order, I got a message from them saying, we recognise your name, would you be interested in some giveaways? Thank you very much. And then they went on to explain kind of one of the things that's very important to them. Now, Angela, who is Mrs. Attic, suffers from Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and they said to me, you know, we do EDS awareness, and I had no idea what EDS is. So awareness is obviously not as broad as they would like, because, you know, I don't tend to have a handle on all illnesses and all medical conditions, but it's one I hadn't heard of at all. And so I said, I'm absolutely delighted to help sort of make folks aware, and if you have any literature or website addresses where people can find out more information, please let me know. So I will put links to their Etsy shop and to the EDS organisation in the notes below, but I'm just going to read you Angie's letter. So enclosed in the parcel are some giveaway prizes. Little goodie bag is something that goes in all orders. Feel free to keep a spot pin. Raising awareness for EDS is something we are passionate about. It took me over 15 years to get a diagnosis. It was a long road, and I ended up really poorly. We just want to spread the word and help someone somewhere. I've been a knitter for 40 plus years and crocheted for about 3. These days I use it as part of my therapy program for both physical and mental health. This year has been all about the socks. Thank you for looking at Attic Spin Dye. This is Andy's creative space. He started dyeing yarn for me to use and found a new hobby now a small business. And that's with love and best wishes from Ange. So Ange, Andy, thank you so much. So what are these fabulous yarns? And they are fabulous, they are so pretty. So they have a yarn on their Crafty site, which is their Rainbow Zebra, and it's their EDS Awareness yarn. And look at this, isn't this just beautiful? So many pretty colours, and it feels really lovely as well. It's a 75% merino, 25% nylon. How many yards or metres? 425 metres per 100 grams, and that is just stunning. And there are a couple of little stitch markers with that. One is a rainbow, one is a zebra. So that is one of the prizes. And the other, same base, and it's their sea glass colourway, which is so pretty. It's got pastel lilac, pastel turquoise, sort of creamy yellow colour, just absolutely beautiful. And again, a stitch marker. This one's a shell. See if I can get that to focus, I doubt it. No, we're not going to play, are we? But just really lovely things. So, you have a chance to win one of these skeins of yarn. And as you know, I don't do very complex prompts. So, in the notes below, if you're interested in winning one of these skeins of yarn, please put either bright or pastel. And if you can put it in the notes below, I'll draw these by the, where are we, end of November. I'd normally say the 25th of the month, but I might be busy that day. Actually, probably won't be. Yes, if you could please put it on there by the 27th of November. December. Let me start that again. If you could please put that on, put your comment in with which yarn you would love to win by the 27th of December, I will make the draw at that point and get in touch with you. So what is Ehlers, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, Danlos syndrome? It's a group of genetic, I'm reading obviously, a group of genetic disorders in which the structure of connective tissue is abnormal due to a gene mutation. So it means that joints are loose, unstable, they can become easily dislocated, a lot of joint pain, brain fog and fatigue, stretchy skin, slow healing, easy bruising and scarring, problems with the gastrointestinal tract, all sorts of things, general tissue fragility leading to hernia, cervical instability, pelvic floor prolapse and urinary dysfunction, resistance to anaesthetics. There are so many symptoms to this, and it's clearly not something that people know enough about to get a quick diagnosis. So thank you so much to Angela and Andy. Angela, I hope that you're as well as you can be with this condition, because I hope that the treatment is working well. I understand it's not a curable disease, but I hope that your symptoms are being well managed and that pain is being controlled and so forth. And just everyone be aware, if you have these symptoms, it's worth investigating. I know that there is a danger, you hear a list of symptoms and you think, I have that, but just keep this one in the back of your mind. If you hear of someone with these symptoms, this may help them to get diagnosed. So if it helps one person, we're all happy. Ange and Andy, thank you so much. Andy, thank you for producing such beautiful yarn. Thank you for watching the podcast, and thank you for reaching out, and I hope that this does help to spread the word. And I also hope that whoever wins the yarn thoroughly enjoys it, because who wouldn't? Come on. They are beautiful. So yes, good luck with the draw, everyone. So please put in the notes brights or pastels, depending on which you'd like, and I'll draw from a hat at the end of December. I'm not sure when the month end falls actually for December, so it might even be after I've done next month's podcast, in which case it'll be confirmed in January. But if you put the message in the notes, I will contact you via the notes in YouTube. I'll message you back when it's drawn. So thank you everyone in that. Wow. This just feels very important, so thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about it. Cheers. Hello lovelies, got a bit of Handspun to show you. So this is, I love the colours of this. It looks like it's been hand painted with highlighter pens. Just love it. This is fibre from Webspun Wares, who is Secreta Mahon. She wrote an article in the last Pom-pom magazine about fibres. And it's her, I got this wrong before, Rambouillet, yeah, in her Faithless and Free colourway. Don't think that's going to focus. Oh, we're not playing, never mind. This is another fractal spin, and I'll put a photograph in here of it caked up so you can see the stripes as we get the different concentrations of colour. Now I'm pretty pleased with this. I split the fibre in two by weight, spun the two halves and had about a foot left over, so that was pretty good. And there it is. I've not scaled it up terribly well, but there it be. Now I had, about a year ago when I got my wheel, I thought I would like to be good enough at spinning. At the end of next year I'd like to give a skein of my Handspun as part of the Stash Mail prize. I'm getting there. I did think it might be this. It's not going to be this, I don't think. That's for two reasons. Firstly, it's not as good as I think I can do. I'm getting finer with my spinning, so my next one, I'll probably do one more fractal at the moment, just to give you that joy. But colours, the other thing is the colour. Not everyone has my delight in neons, so it might be a little bright for some. So I have another fibre braid. I've got some from Witchcrafty Lady. I've got another one from Webspun Wares in equally beautiful but less neon shades. So I think this one I'm going to have, and then I'll spin another, because I won't be drawing that until, for the whole year, until the January podcast. I've got a bit of time to get a nice braid spun up, so that's the plan. So that's a finished object fibre, but I also have an FO crochet, and this is a garment, as you can see. Let me hold it the right way up. And here we go. I'll put a picture here of me wearing it so that you can see what it looks like on. And this is the Roxy Poncho sweater by Aquanetta Ferguson. Now excuse my notes all over it, but there's the pattern. And I really enjoyed making it. You start off, it's a free pattern I think, so I don't think I'm giving away any secrets, but you start off basically at the neckline. So in my case I did, rather than chain, I did foundation crochet, and the first part you make is a rectangle with a hole in the middle, this hole. Then you fold it in half. When you've got it to the width that you want it to be, fold it in half, join up for the underarm, and then work down. So started with this dark red colour. You can see where the rectangle got bigger. and then you can see where I joined it with this yarn here, and then I work down that way. The original pattern doesn't have any sleeves, as you can see, because of the shape. It's a kind of cap sleeve sort of shape anyway. I decided I wanted something a little longer than that, so I added sleeves on, just decreasing. I wasn't sure how long I was going to go, but I tried it on, and this kind of elbow length seemed about right for this garment. So let's talk yarns. Now, all through this I am using some undyed alpaca, which I got from a friend of a friend. My mate Lynn, it's her mate's alpaca farm, or it was through a friend of hers anyway. So it's 4-ply fingering weight alpaca, and I decided to put it with mohair, and some of these were from the stash, all but one were from the stash. So this first colour here is House Red by Stranded Stranded Dye Works. Sorry, Amy. Then we've got a couple of commercial ones. This is, let me get the right way round. Wrong piece of paper. I've written it on the pattern, for goodness sake. So this bright pink is Kid Silk Haze. We then had another Stranded Dye Works, and this is in the Nougat, or as I grew up calling it, Nugget colourway. We've then got a sort of undyed white colour. That is Debbie Bliss Angel. That was left over from other projects. Then the next is just a stunning colourway. Let me show you here to get a better sense of it. This is by Skein Queen, and this is their Heavenly Nightmare colourway. And as I was working it, you suddenly get these pops of bright colour, teals, oranges. I think you can see that hopefully there. Really enjoyed working with this. Now, I had a look on their website, and they had Heavenly Nightmare in a non-mohair base, and it looked very different. The colours are much more contrasting, and I've often heard dyers say about how mohair takes dye so differently, and certainly compared to the photo of the Heavenly Nightmare, this is a much softer colourway, but it was really fun to work and to see kind of the next one coming up. And then the last colourway, this lovely sort of pinky lilac, is the yarn that I was talking about in the last section from Attic Spin Dye, and this is the Kitten Soft Dawn, Dusk colourway. Sorry. I've just talked about it, you know what I mean. Now, I had also bought the skein from Lamington Lass, the Steel Eye, I think, the grey colour. Didn't need that at all. I still have 40 grams left of this Attic Spin Dye yarn. Oh dear, how sad, never mind. I'm sure I'll find something to do with it, nice and lovely. So yes, started with the basic pattern, obviously made some modifications. Now the pattern is more a recipe than a start with this many stitches, work till you have this many stitches job, because it is essentially so simple as a shape. So modifications that I made, in the back neck I added another panel, so we can see the front neck here is just the shape of it, and the back neck is slightly higher. This by no means goes high on the back of my neck, but I just felt that it would hold the shoulders together better. I'm quite round shouldered, so things tend to slip, so I thought it would help with that and give it a little more structure at that place. I mentioned that I added the sleeves. As you can see, just a few rows continuing the pattern, decreasing every row, and then a border of no, these are UK terms, so one treble followed by one front post double treble. So take that down for UK terms, 1 double and 1 double double front post. So that just to give that little rib effect. I also made it slightly longer. The original pattern was for 2 cakes of lion brown mandala. I went longer, but again for the base I just did the same sort of rib pattern, alternating front post double treble and a treble. It is incredibly thick, warm, snuggly. I think it will need to be quite a cold day before I put this on, but then when I do, it will be so cozy. I will like it very much. So yes, this is the Roxy Poncho by Aquanetta Ferguson, and I'm very happy with it. All in all, I used about 2,400 meters. That's 1,200 each of the 2 yarns, or the 2 types of yarn I should say, because obviously I've got lots of different mohairs in here, but 1,217 of the mohair blends and 1,217 of the alpaca. So there we go. It was quite a quick make, because once you get cracking on it, it's fairly straightforward. And yeah, just really pleased with it. Because it is a recipe, it's something you could easily make in a much lighter yarn as a kind of beach throw over or something like that. Doesn't necessarily have to be a warm and cosy. That was my particular choice. But really happy. I used a 5mm hook, just because that seemed to suit the yarn. I like the fabric that I got from it. Trying to think if there's anything else I can say, apart from I really like it and it's super cosy. And if push comes to shove, I have a pillow to rest my head against. Oh, that is lovely. Yes. So another FO. Ploughing through. She lied. Those of you who are on Instagram and follow knitters on Instagram will have seen many versions of the project I'm about to show you. But when I saw it, I couldn't resist. Fairy lights are not just for Christmas. And let me demonstrate this a little better. What fun! That's a bit of fun and games. Can be used as directional lighting, or not. So let me put the lights back to as they were and talk to you. This is an adaptation of a pattern by Layla Raven. She is putting kits together if people are interested. Personally, I have quite a few large size needles that I don't use as a rule, and I thought these red plastic slightly shiny ones would be wonderful. This is knitted fairy light. She's done a lace version as well, which looks pretty amazing. I got hold of a 30-meter length of lights. There are 2 sorts of lights you can get. Some have very little light sort of within the wires. This has more sticky outy bits, so it gives a different texture. Not the quickest knit, not easy on the hands, but fun. And I've done this in probably 3 hours this afternoon. So yes, I've really enjoyed that. My hands haven't, but the rest of me has. All good fun. Hello lovelies. We're going to have a little last minute bit of fun casual make along for those who want to. Now if you're on the if you watch the weekly vlog, you'll know about this because it's something that's come up, but if you don't, You don't have to. It's just a fun thing for December. I was musing how I was suffering a bit of FOMO because I don't order an advent calendar because, as we know, I don't need to buy yarn. Doesn't mean I won't, but I don't need to. And I still see people opening their advent calendars on Vlogmas and think, I'd quite like to be doing that. And actually, I think it's not necessarily the new yarn, lovely though that always is. It's actually the little something every day. It's that kind of build-up sort of feeling. And I was musing the idea of just working on a small project throughout Advent, a little bit each day that would finish on Christmas Eve. And I was just discussing this as a thought, and people were coming back very positively. They would like to join in. So I was going to do it just as a let's all do it, but I will do it as a make along for those who want, with a prize for those who want. But it is very casual, very just for fun. And I'm going to be doing Vlogmas, so I'll be showing my progress each day, but you don't have to watch Vlogmas every day to be part of this make along. I'm going to do it on Ravelry, and as always with Ravelry things, with the understanding that if you're having problems using Ravelry because of the changes that they made, please email me and we'll work around that, because I don't want anyone to not be able to do it. They have been making improvements to the site, which I think has made things better for a number of people, but not for everyone. So please don't feel excluded if you are not able to use Ravelry. But the idea is it's a project that you work on a little bit every day, and by the time of your celebration it's done. And I say the time of your celebration because Advents are traditionally about Christmas, so you'd have 24 days throughout December, but there's Hanukkah, there's Kwanzaa, there's solstice. People celebrate all sorts of different things. So I'm not making this a Christmas or an Advent make-along, it is a December craft-along. So you can knit, you can crochet, whatever it is you'd like to do. The idea is it's just a bit of fun and a bit of kind of community crafting, where we just sit down together in our own spaces, in our own times, but we just kind of have a few minutes sitting, crafting, just doing something we enjoy doing. Now this may be a last minute gift. It could be something for your home. It could be, if you can do an entire sweater in the time, you go for it. Personally, I know I couldn't. So I think for most people it'll probably be a small accessory. I'm not advocating which pattern you should use. This is potentially a self-indulgent project for you to just do a little something. It might be a pattern that you've had a while and haven't got around to making. I'm going to go through my library and look for suitable patterns that I think I'll be able to do in the time. And what I mean by suitable patterns for me, just for me, is something where it's the same number of rows, or predominantly the same number of rows, so that I can divide it equally into, in my case, 24, because I'm going to do it from 1st of December to Christmas Eve, and that will be my goal, if you like. But it could be that you want to make yourself something that doesn't fit into it all. This is your craft along, so whatever you want it to be. So very simple rules. There'll be a thread on Ravelry, and that is a chatter and a finished object thread. So you can post every day saying, I haven't had a chance to do anything today, and you'll still be in with a chance of winning the prize. I was initially going to do this as just fun, no prize, no nothing, but the amount of people interested made me think it would be nice just to give something away at the end of it. So it's really up to you what you do. This may be a using up scraps project. You know, it's the end of the year, we want to kind of clear things out for the end of the year. It could be using your advent calendar if you're getting one. That would be a fun thing to do. But it's really entirely up to you. I will make the draw on 12th night, which is the 6th of January. And it'll just be a small prize, but hopefully a bit of fun. For those who want to, you don't have to finish your item. I mean, basically, you've just got to show up at one point in that thread to be in with a chance of a prize. And for the people who are thinking, but I'll show up every day, this isn't fair. Well, yeah, it is, because if you show up every day, you'll have more chances of winning. So there we go. It is just for fun. No one's obliged. And the reason why I'm doing the draw on the 6th of January is that if you don't get a chance to finish something before your holiday, be it Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Solstice, Christmas, no doubt a dozen others that I'm not aware of, then that's fine. It just gives you a chance to finish it if you want to. Could this be more vague and casual? I don't think so. But it's Christmas, it's December, it's a year that has been vague and sometimes casual. So let's just chill and just have some fun. And I hope it is fun. Look forward to seeing what you make. If you'd like to join in, just really have fun with it. And that's it. So yeah, there'll be a Ravelry thread from the 1st of December. I'm calling it the DecemberCraftMal, and I'll draw a prize based on all threads, all posts on the 6th of January. That's it. Enjoy. Hello lovelies. I've had a bit of literature. In fact, I've had 2 lots. So this month's Pom-pom magazine, this quarter's Pom-pom magazine I should say, as always lovely. Just going to pick out a few things. I know a lot of knitting and crochet podcasters get this, so you'll probably see a lot, but I'm going to pick out a few patterns that particularly struck me. The cover, same cardigan, same item rather, one a cardigan, one a sweater, different colourways, just a beautiful piece of work that I will probably never make, and that's fine. I was saying on the vlog how I'll probably never make most of these things, and Brenda, who is a woman of great wisdom, reminded me that we have books for pleasure as well as for practicality, so thank you for the reminder, Brenda. But there are some lovely things in here, including a crochet pattern. I find that rather striking and rather lovely. But I do have a complaint, because why would you photograph that on such a dark background? It's really hard to see, and bear in mind that if you can see the jumper clearly, there are 3 lights on in this room, it's daylight, and the light facing this is a studio light. When I was sitting just in the sitting room downstairs, I was really struggling to see that in artificial light, so yes, less impressed by the photography. Not the styling of it, the styling is always beautiful, but just we have these things to look at the patterns as well as to admire the beauty of them, so enough said. Lovely cowl there, and again it's offered in 2 colourways so you can get a bit of contrast. Just absolutely lovely. Also this month there is a Q&A with Adela of Lola Bean Yarn Company, and the person asking the questions was her good friend Gigi Gay Gillespie. Yeah, so a lovely read there. So lots of lovely stuff in this quarter's pom-pom. I also received in the same bundle, because this month I renewed my subscription, and also saw that they were offering the latest interpretations when it came out. And it came out. So this is a book of patterns by Vera Valimaki and Hohi Locatelli. They do one every kind of year or so. And, well, hello. Now someone saw this and said, your sister would like that, Les. Yeah, I'm not making another one. But that is rather lovely. And I mean, there are so many lovely patterns in here, but there are a couple here. This shawl is rather fabulous, and it has, each of the sections is in a different stitch pattern. So you've got some brioche, you've got some garter, you've got some stocking stitch. But I also like this sweater. I like the construction of it, so I can see that coming into my future. Bit of entrelac. It's enough to kind of keep me interested, so I think that could be on my list of things to make. Yeah, I mean, every pattern's a winner, and patterns are hard to see but lovely. So yeah, you'll see these on other podcasts, I'm sure, but I'm always happy to receive Pom-pom. I just love the way they put things together, even if they are a bit dark. Maybe it's my eyes, I'm getting old, dears. Take care. Hello lovelies, we're on the home stretch. You can nearly escape. First we're going to talk all about me and stuff I've been given. It never ceases to amaze me how wonderful and how generous people are. And two absolute peaches have very kindly sorted me out with some stuff this month, and it is just so kind. Firstly, look at these stunning snowflakes from Denise. She very kindly sent these to me. What an absolute star, so kind. Aren't they just beautiful? Such patience and skill required. I would say I'll take my hat off to you, and I wasn't wearing one, but actually I have my hat to hand because I'm about to do a draw, so I take my hat off to you, Denise. Thank you so much for sending those. They are stunning, and they are going to be a treasured part of my Christmas decorations this year. Also a big thank you to Daryl, who has very kindly made a gift of the Skein hat patterns to me. Thank you so much. Ellie from Skein has released hat patterns which are using the same designs as she has in some of the yokes of her sweaters, and absolutely beautiful. Really good introduction to colour work actually, and I think you can buy them individually as well as the set. And Daryl, thank you so much for making a gift of that to me. I am absolutely touched, so thank you. So now I'm going to give something to you lovely people, and the reason why I have my hat out, I've only got one lot of lights working for some reason. Oh, hang on, maybe not. Probably find that the batteries have gone in the other, because of course this hat hasn't been used all year, which is why I am delighted to be using it now. Aye aye. So my light up hat, complete with little drums, has not been used for drumming, but I will use it to pull the winners of the knitting diaries and the crochet diary. Everything ends up on the floor, including the stuff I deliberately put on the floor. So why I didn't look there first, I don't know. So these are for the crochet diary. This is the first one. So I printed off all the comments, and I am pulling from the hat and the winner of the crochet diary is Fiona B. Thank you so much. I will message you on YouTube and let you know that you have been successful. So thank you very much, Fiona, for taking part in the draw, and congratulations. Let me move these crochet ones out as I now put in the knitting ones. And a big thank you again to Janet for donating the prizes. I will put the links in below of her shop and Etsy page, so that if you haven't been successful this is how you can get hold of these diaries. So thank you, Janet, that is really very much appreciated, and thank you to everyone who has taken part. So Fiona B's got the crochet one, who has got the knitted one, and this is, I'm going to pronounce this wrong I'm sure, but I will give it my best shot to pronounce it right, obviously. Irena Venska Brandt. I hope that's right, Irena. I will contact you on YouTube. And yeah, thank you so much. Congratulations. Well done. Fabulous. Thank you, Janet, for donating the prizes. I better turn my lights off, otherwise my batteries are going to go out. See, I'm so out of practice with these, I can't remember where the switches are for the batteries. Oh, we'll be drumming again soon. We'll be wearing our lighted hats again soon. We won't remember any of the drum pieces. I can just imagine that first rehearsal when we all get back together and someone suggests our simplest piece and we'll all be looking at each other going, how does that one go? Except the one leader who expects us to have been practicing all this time. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Talking of giveaways, don't forget the yarn giveaway, the lovely yarn from Attic Spin Dye. So just put in the notes whether you would like pastels or brights. And also there is a pin. I hope that focuses in. Oh, come along now. I'll take a photograph of it. It says, hello everyone, I'm Spot. Spot the rainbow zebra. Funny name for a zebra, right? I'm here to bring awareness to misdiagnosed and invisible conditions. So why a zebra? Doctors are taught, when you hear hooves, think horses, not zebras. But zebras exist, and rare conditions are missed. So with a little awareness, we might be able to help spot the zebra. So, it's a very cute zebra too. You may say zebra, I say zebra. Zebra, zebra. No, let's not do that. So that will also be on its way with the yarn. Thank you again to Angie and Andrew for donating those prizes and for making us aware of EDS. Someone who saw it on the vlog is already looking into it, thinking that her symptoms seem to kind of stack up. So as I said to her, I hope you haven't got it. You know, you don't wish a condition on anyone, but if you get a diagnosis, there's a lot to be said for that. So thank you for the prize, and thank you to all who are taking part. And I'm just going to show you one more skein of yarn, and you're going to be thinking to yourself, Les, have you been buying yarn again? You said you weren't going to. Well, I didn't. I made it. Ha ha ha! I am so pleased with this yarn. You would not believe how annoying I'm being to poor himself, because every time he comes in, I'm like, look, I made this. So this is a gradient skein, and I am delighted with it. It's a classic 3-ply, so I split the yarn into 3 down the length of the roving, spun them individually, plied them together, and I have this. And it makes me so happy. The fibre is 100% Polworth from Demelza's Delights. And it's in the Purple Haze colourway. I couldn't be happier with it. I got, it was 100 gram roving. I split it into 3, as I say, spun it. Spun it? Yes, the past tense of spun is spun, isn't it? Past tense of spin is spun. I did have a few bits left over, and rather than do the Plying bracelet that I showed you earlier, it wasn't really enough to do anything with, so I've added those bits to a bobbin I have of my little bits of leftovers. So that's going to be a sort of Franken skein by the time I have enough to make something out of it. But it's the most consistent yarn I've spun, and makes me very happy. So yes, 100 grams in the original roving. this is 99 grams, so I've got a gram going into that other bobbin, and I've got 257 meters. It's approximately 13 wraps per inch. It's coming out at a kind of sport weight ish. No idea what I'm going to do with it, but I will do something. The obvious thing is to do another cowl so that you get the gradient effect. Talking with the lovely folks from Knitting Group, Claire from Ferret and Gibbon, the Ferret and Gibbon podcast I should say, suggested having it as a stripe in a sweater. And I thought, yeah, I could actually go from cream at the top, gradient stripe, purple at the bottom. That could work for me. So this is a possible plan. But for the moment, I'm just looking at it and thinking, I made that. It's taken a year, but I actually feel like I'm a spinner now. And I know that this is only one technique. I'm not a spinner with a capital S, if you like, because I know that a real spinner will do lots of different techniques and lots of different ways of spinning, lots of different ways of drafting. But I do feel like I've produced a skein of yarn that I'm proud of, and that makes me feel very happy. As we all know, I'm fairly easily pleased, but that does make me feel very happy. So that is it for November. Thank you so much. If you've lasted this long, well done. We've got a bit of a long one this month. I am going to do Vlogmas. I think I said earlier about my project. I am going to do, I don't know where the pattern's gone. No, it's not that. I'm going to do the Free for All cowl by Jennifer Peck. No one has to join in with the same pattern. It's a free one. I'll put a link in below. It's a simple cowl with it's knitted side to side, sewn up at the end with a kind of V pattern in it. So I will be doing that one. You are welcome to join in. It's just a very casual. There will be a prize at the end of it, thread on Ravelry, just a bit of fun, bit of December crafting. So that's that. But I think that's it for the month. We are coming out of one lockdown and going into another. We now have a tier system with effect from the 2nd. Part of the country I'm in is in the 2nd tier, which means some restrictions, but not all of them. Most of my family are in the 3rd tier, so they're in tighter restrictions. It does mean that some of the things we had planned for December aren't going to happen. Which means that Vlogmas will be quite samey, because it'll be, today I am working, today I am working and crafting, today I am working, today I am crafting. That's basically what it's going to be. We're going to end up with you knowing what I've cooked for dinner or what himself has cooked for dinner by the end of it, I think. But I will try and make it interesting, try and make it as festive as I can. I'll try and remember to take the camera with me so that if I'm out and about and I see pretty lights, I'll record those. Yeah, it's all just a question of us making the most of everything at the moment and being grateful for what we can do and just getting on with it. And the quicker and better we get on with it, the sooner it'll be over, she said, hopefully. Hope you're all keeping well. I hope you're all keeping safe. I appreciate not everyone has the time to watch a daily vlog or the desire to watch a daily vlog, so you won't miss out on any crafting content apart from daily progress on the craft along. If you're not watching it, all crafting stuff will be at the end of the month. Take good care of yourselves. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for being part of this community. It just means the world to me. It absolutely does. So look after yourselves, be kind to yourselves, and do whatever you can to make you feel happy. Thanks everyone. Take care. Bye bye.